Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here, Thursday, May the 19th, from the Acts of the Apostles. I really want you to pay attention to the order here. This is now what we call the Council of Jerusalem. This is actually the First Ecumenical Council. Many people consider it to be Nicaea in 325. No, it's the Council of Jerusalem. This is kind of the template of all ecumenical councils, when the bishops gather to make decisions or to, come up with strategic plans for the church. Peter stood up and said to them, brothers, you know that in the early days. So Peter stands up. Number two, after hearing this, they basically are silenced. In other words, they listen, they're more disposed because why? The chosen one has made a statement. And then the whole assembly listens to Paul and Barnabas. And then James stands up, the Bishop of Jerusalem, and he makes a statement. So again, people, I've heard all this, what I call hooey, about Paul being separated, more powerful than Peter and Barnabas, and James is really the authority here, he's the power. Listen to the order. It's not James who speaks first, it's not Barnabas or Paul who speaks first, it's Peter. Peter is so often mentioned, he's so often mentioned. You almost have to willfully exclude the possibility that Peter is the vicar of Christ, that he is the chosen one. He is what we call the spiritual father, the Pope. That's all Papa means, Pope. He's the one. He's the prime minister holding the keys of Hezekiah, the ancient kingdom of David. And so it's Peter is the one who really sets the pace, and everything flows from what Peter says, and he lets James enact the legislation, we see here how the kingdom of God in this world works according to the plan of Jesus Christ. It's not just what everybody thinks. Somebody's got to make a decision. There's got to be leaders. Otherwise, it's anarchy. It's, nothing is going to work properly. Somebody has to make the call. It's like in a sports game, somebody's got to be the umpire. Somebody's got to be the ref. In the church, somebody's got to make the call. That's the Pope. Ultimately, it's the Pope. The bishops, they delegate certain responsibilities, but ultimately it's got to be the Pope. So reflect on this today. This is the way Jesus set it up. It's the way it needs to run. We may not always agree with things, but that's the way Jesus set it up. So in the Gospel of St. John, we're at chapter 15, and Jesus again gives these beautiful words. Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. It's so profound. We should, be thinking about this all the time, but especially want Jesus to help us remember this at the moment of our death. If we have moments, because sometimes people just drop and they're dead. But to be able to think of this, that we're not just leaving everything behind and going into oblivion, our particles are going to be scattered throughout the universe, blah, 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 which, would terrify us. Because everything is coming to a real end, like capital E, capital N, capital D. No. It is our time to depart from this world and go to the Father. Love conquers all fear. I pray for this all the time because I don't know how I'm going to react, but I pray that God will give me the grace to react like I'm going to the Father. And then he goes, he says, as the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So if we really strive to keep Christ's commandments, especially, what's the new commandment that we read? I think it was last Sunday. A new commandment I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So if we are striving to, pray for this grace and then live this grace, live it out in our behavior, then love truly will have its effects in our life. It will, to use the imagery of a plant, it will sink its roots deep down in our soul, and it will gradually over time eliminate the fear of death, even the fear of suffering. It doesn't mean the pleasantness of suffering. It's never pleasant. But we'll understand the purpose of suffering even more and more and more. And love will infuse our suffering so that we will see it as an opportunity to be purified, to offer reparation, to pray for other people, and so on. And this is what happens with grace. I can't pretend that I'm there yet, but this is what I'm aiming for. This is what I'm asking God to help me with. And I really encourage you to ask God, ask the Lord to help you with this as well. This is what true happiness is. God bless you.